right, so in chapter 14, we're going to find that we have a new functional group called ethers, and it's going to bear some similarities to some things you've seen before. So 14.1, Introduction to Ethers. An ether group includes an oxygen atom that is bonded to two R groups, and as I likely said in class, this looks something like we've seen before, right? So the things that we learned about water, we can apply some of those things to alcohols. And some of the things that we learned about alcohols, we can apply to ethers, right? Can you see the similarity? Of course, there's some very important differences as well, right? For example, hydrogen bonding is possible between water and other things because you have a hydrogen that's bonded to an electronegative element, and in alcohols, you still have a hydrogen that's bonded to an electronegative element, but in ethers you don't. So they're not exactly the same, of course, but some important differences, but it's important for you to appreciate that there's some similarities as well. So if an ether is defined as an oxygen with two alkyl groups, or alkyl or aryl or vinyl groups, right? If that's what it's defined as, then what is this an ether? I guess that's the question, right? Is that an alkyl group? Yes, it is. It's ethyl. Is this an alkyl group? No. What's this called? Well, that's an acyl group, okay? We haven't studied that in organic chemistry yet, but you have seen this, right? What is that? That is an ester. Okay, so what you don't have, you don't have an ether here. You have an ester, and when you have an oxygen that's bonded to two things, it doesn't necessarily make it an ether. It has to be two alkyl groups, or two aryl groups, or two vinyl groups. Do you know what an aryl group is? That's an aryl group. This looks like a Star Wars thing, doesn't it? Okay, so this is an ether because you have two aryl groups on there. Do you know what a vinyl group is? Google it. Look for that. All right, so compounds containing ethers are quite common, so we pull up some from that you may have heard of in other parts of your life. Vitamin E is an ether because it's got that right there, right? Can you see it's also a phenol? Look at that. Remember that from last chapter? But it's an ether because you have an oxygen which is bonded to two. There's an aryl group and there's an alkyl group, right? Now, granted, they're bonded to each other, so that's a little bit scary, but still, you have an ether linkage right there. Here's another ether, right? You've got an oxygen that's bonded to an aryl group and an alkyl group, right? Here's another one, morphine. It's also a phenol. Can you see that? It's also an amine. All right. So those are some examples of ethers, and let's dig into to the properties and nomenclature of ethers and the reactions.